The new year is quickly approaching, which means it's time to improve ourselves with a New Year's resolution. But what about the games we love? Because I love Mortal Kombat 1, but let's be real, the game's got a lot of problems. So today's video is all about the flaws in Mortal Kombat 1 and how they could be improved. So grab some popcorn and get ready for a rant. But first, let me know your New Year's resolutions in the comment section down below. For me personally, I'm gonna try to spend way more time outside and also go on more vacations. I've spent too much time locked up in this studio. But that could be because I read every single comment posted, so grab that keyboard and make your voices heard. Also, if you love Mortal Kombat content like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss any future videos. And then after watching, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below. It really does help my channel out a ton, and without any further ado, let's begin. Keep in mind that these complaints are not from least to worst or any particular order like that. I'm just ranting, okay? First up, we have the customization. While Mortal Kombat 1 does offer gear pieces and a bunch of costumes and palettes, you can only have one of these custom looks saved at a time. And for me personally, that's a big deal. I'm what's called a fashion gamer, okay? I want my characters to look cool, and I want to have several different presets for that custom character, right? So for example, I want 3 different looks for Mileena, not just one. I mean, for crying out loud, even Mortal Kombat 11 on day 1 had multiple loadouts for your character, and you could customize their look as well. I think like 3 at the very start of the game's release. Or in other words, Mortal Kombat 1 has gone backwards, and that's an issue for me. I hate when any sequel offers less content than the previous game. It's okay if the gameplay elements change around, that's completely fine, but there should never be less content. We can't go backwards. But as you all know, I love making these videos interactive, so let me know in the comment section what complaints do you have about Mortal Kombat 1 that you want to see fixed next year? Or in other words, what does your New Year's resolution look like for Mortal Kombat 1? Grab that keyboard, let me know. Because next up, it's time to talk about DLC characters. Why on earth do the DLC characters only have one costume? Once again, a big step backwards from Mortal Kombat 11. Even in that game, I think every character had 4 different costumes and then a bunch of different palettes on top of that, which was super cool. But what's not cool is that means we've gone backwards once again. A DLC character in Mortal Kombat 11 had more content for your dollar than Mortal Kombat 1 does, which is a big issue to me. I know for some people gameplay is all that matters, and I think the characters in Mortal Kombat 1 are more fun to play than ever before, but even so, all that being said, we can't go backwards. Mortal Kombat 11 gave us all this content per character, and Mortal Kombat 1 gives us just the character and some gear pieces, which is appreciated. But come on, there's gotta be more costumes too. Alright, but issue number 3, let's talk about the online. It's still pretty buggy in Mortal Kombat 1. There's this weird desync issue which can cause the match to be completely dropped, and when that does happen, you don't get rewarded for any of the time you just spent in that match, which sucks. I always loved how when playing Call of Duty or some other game, even if the match got disconnected, you still kept all the XP. I don't get why fighting games can't do that. There's got to be some way to give us some XP when the match starts. That way, even if it desyncs, we still get to keep the stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, the desync issue also needs to be resolved, but I'm just saying, I think going forward, it would be cool if fighting games tried to reward you more for playing and not just for winning or finishing the match. If the inevitable and unthinkable does happen and your match does get dropped for reasons outside the developer or player's control, there needs to be some sort of security net there to catch me and keep my XP, alright? Next up, let's talk about invasions. I actually don't hate this mode. I think it's somewhat fun, but the issue is the camera. Okay, I suppose I was talking too fast and too loud there for my stomach to handle, so I'm still going to cover all these topics, but I'm going to dial back the energy a bit. Hope you don't mind. Next up, let's talk about invasions. I actually don't dislike this mode. I think it can be quite entertaining, but I think if they broke away from the board game style of movement and just gave us a full third-person experience, in fact, I think NetherRealm can do even better than that and give us a first-person option as well, because if you squint hard enough, you can tell the environment and invasions is really detailed. The graphics are incredible, the textures, the models, they're all really good. I want to give a big shout out to the environment artists at NetherRealm Studios. They did a fantastic job, but the issue is the camera is just too far back to appreciate most of it. I want to be able to zoom in on the details of the architecture and the environment, and even the citizens that are in the background, the NPCs. I want to see all of it. So NetherRealm, I think invasions can be almost as good as World Tour if you just just let us freely move around like you could in World Tour. You don't have to change anything else. I think the map can be identical, but just let us move around freely in third-person mode, and also maybe give us a first-person mode too as well. But next up, let's talk about private matches and private lobbies playing with your buddies. To me, it's a big issue that you get almost nothing for doing this in Mortal Kombat 1. I think it would be awesome if your character's XP still leveled up, and the same for your cameo characters. I find it weird that if I grind against the AI, in Invasion mode, I get rewarded for XP, but if I grind with my buddies and actually learn the game at a competitive level, I get no reward at all. Once again, I might be alone on this issue, maybe it's not a big deal to any of you watching, but for me personally, I think fighting games are at their best when you're playing in a private lobby with your friends. To me, that's what it's all about. It reminds me of the arcade days, right? All the arcades where I live are gone now, but I can still go online and play with my buddies and pretend they're right next to me and just have a fun time online, right? So if anybody at NetherRealm is watching this video, please consider adding XP in every single mode. Whether you're playing locally or a private match, it shouldn't really matter, right? Because even when you rank up, it doesn't affect anybody else, right? You're not cheating any other players by grinding with your friends. It's just your character's XP level. It doesn't provide any unfair advantage here or there, so it should be completely fine, which is why I think no matter what mode you play in, you should be rewarded with XP and also currency from the game. But next up, I think it's time for a nitpick, alright? I'm getting a bit petty here. I think Fatal Blow is way too biased towards new players, because if you do a short combo into Fatal Blow, you get a pretty decent amount of damage. However, if a veteran player like myself does a long combo and then still does Fatal Blow at the end, I get almost nothing. I'm lucky to get 5%, maybe 10%, and that's really frustrating because you only get one Fatal Blow a match. So NetherRealm, if you're watching, you gotta take a page from Capcom on this one, because ever since Street Fighter V, they found a perfect solution. Because even though a super attack does do less damage at the end of a long combo as opposed to a short combo, the damage on that super never drops below 50% of its original damage. And I think Mortal Kombat 1 should work the exact same way. So for a fast example, let's say I do a 40% damage combo and then do Fatal Blow to end the combo. Even though I've already done 40%, the Fatal Blow's damage should never drop below 15% because that's half the damage it can normally do when performed raw, which means in total my combo is going to do 55% damage. I think that's completely fair, but let's say I do something crazy, like pull off a 60% damage combo. I spend all of my meter and then I end with Fatal Blow. Guess what? It's still not going to drop below 15% for the Fatal Blow damage, which means overall my combo is going to do 75% damage. It seems crazy, but it's not. As mentioned earlier, other fighting games are already doing this, and it makes the super move feel more fair. As it stands right now, it's biased towards beginners, and I practically never even use the thing because I don't get much damage for it, and also it knocks the opponent too far away to keep pressure going. So the damage incentive needs to be there. Update the Fatal Blows in Mortal Kombat 1, or at the very least make sure it works better in Mortal Kombat 2. Even at the end of a super long combo, the Fatal Blow damage needs to be worth it. And you know what? Another nitpick. The finish him screen is so annoying in Mortal Kombat 1 right now. Half the time it causes my input to drop, which means my combo fails and I don't get the brutality, which means less XP in Invasion, and also I don't look as cool when playing online either. So please fix that. Give me an option to turn off the slow-mo when the finish him screen shows up. And also, what's going on with that annoying corner glitch? I'm sure plenty of you know what I'm talking about and you're getting PTSD right now, but in case anyone watching is unfamiliar with what I'm speaking of right now, if you corner the opponent in Mortal Kombat 1 and you're a little bit too close to the corner yourself, sometimes the game just thinks you're behind the opponent and gives you the opposite input that you were going for. So for example, if I'm comboing the opponent as Sub-Zero, but try to do the ice clone when I'm too close to the corner, the game just gives me the ice ball instead because it flipped the inputs on me. This happens even if you do the input early before you get close to the corner. So yeah, this needs to be fixed right now. But now finally, it's time for my last complaint. Recently in Mortal Kombat 1, the servers went down, and guess what happened? Many players lost access to all of their DLC. They could not not play Omni-Man, they could not play Quan Chi, and they also lost access to Invasion mode and other modes that are not technically online, but still for some reason require an online connection. And this needs to stop. Like, seriously. I understand there's a workaround that if you put your console in offline mode, you could suddenly have the DLC, but I don't think the game modes became playable, so this needs to stop. At the end of the day, if you spent money on a game and you spent money on the characters, they need to always work, because think about it. At some point, maybe 10 years, 20 years from now, NetherRealm or WB is going to stop the online servers for Mortal Kombat 1, which would mean, in theory, you can no longer play those modes. And even worse still, you might lose access to your DLC characters unless you want to play offline, and that's just ridiculous. Out of all the complaints so far, this might be the biggest one that needs to be fixed, and at the very least in Mortal Kombat 2, or whatever funny name they're going to give the sequel, this cannot be a thing. Like, it can absolutely not be a thing. I'm putting my foot down. This cannot happen with Mortal Kombat 2. Alright everyone, that's all the energy I have in me. It turns out I'm much more sick than I thought, so I'm gonna end the video there. One last time, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below. It really does help my channel out a ton, and then finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs. I'm going to go puke one more time.